welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star, and today we are going to be taking a look at the plush that sold on our eBay store in the month of April. I have pulled up every single plush that sold last month. There were 22 total, so that's not quite one plush a day. And the daily sell-through rate on that is 0.12. So that's about half of where we historically are with our plush, and it's about half of where we would like to be. Plush is extremely long tail. It has a very slow sell-through rate, and it is slower than clothes in most instances. Of course, just like with anything, you're going to find the plush that sell very quickly, but for the most part, they take a long time to sell. So I average their sell-through rate to be about a 0.25. Most clothing has a 0.5% sell-through rate. Now, these are daily sell-through rates. So a 0.5% daily clothing sell-through rate would be, if you had 1,000 clothing listings, you'd sell 5 a day. If you had 2,000, you'd sell 10 a day. And you should expect about half of that for plush. We have just over 500 plush. So, selling less than one a day puts us at about half of where we should be. But that being said, with sales the way they had been in the first quarter and things having been slow for a while, only hitting half of our historical sales or half of what our goals are is okay, because it could be a lot worse than that. And things have been picking up as well on eBay. So, and then we pick up the slack with our Poshmark and our Mercari sales. So you should be cross-posting if you're not. And if you want to try out List Perfectly, you can try it for 30% off using the code flippinhippos. But if you add in our plush sales on Poshmark and Mercari and eBay, total, we are at about 0.25% or a little over. So we're hitting our goals across 3 platforms. And that's why it's important to cross post. So when sales are slow on eBay or Poshmark, you can sell stuff elsewhere. So we're going to jump on in here with the first plush you're looking at. Some of these plush at the beginning of this video you may have just seen in this week's What Sold on eBay video that came out Monday. And I'm just going to go through the plush real quick here in this video and talk about why or why not sometimes these are good brands or characters to source. If you want more detailed information about the plush and the cost of goods and how they ship, I always give that information out in my What Sold videos that drop every single Monday. So this is a recognizable character from Dumbo. And I always pick up Disney plush, especially when they're from Disney parks or the Disney store. And I like the characters like Timothy here that aren't as oversaturated. Your Mickey Mouse and Friends characters are oversaturated on eBay as well as other platforms. When you find the more obscure characters, they're going to, 1, sell quicker because there's going to be less competition, and 2, they usually sell for a lot more. One of my biggest tips with Disney plush I give to people is to look for the villains. For some reason, and I'm one of them, I'm one of those people that just loves Disney villains, but for some reason people just love Disney villains, and they always sell very fast and usually for a lot of money. Next up, we have a Gans Webkins. So you guys know Gans are hit or miss. It doesn't always equate to whether or not it has a code. It's usually more about the plush or the animal. If you're willing to sell bread and butter or filler plush or do a volume-based business, I always say pick up all the Gans Webkins you can find that are like 50 cents or less. If you're not willing to do that, then you're going to want to comp them before you purchase them. They have a code on their tag. I've talked about this before. You want to put this in the title. Collectors will look for that. And then the animals always have a name. Sometimes it's just as generic as bear or pig. Sometimes it's as unique as this caramel lion. And I should be telling you what these sold for. These sold for $14.99 and $13.12. Everything I'm going to show you in this video shipped first class in poly bags, unless I say otherwise. I'll let you know when they were heavier and we had to ship them differently or they went priority. Here's a lot of carnival toys. I just talked about this more extensively in my video Monday. But if you ever have a bunch of generic toys or leftover toys or plush from wholesale lots or grab bags you get, you can always lot them up like this, and people will buy lots of plush like this. This one sold for $14.99. Here's the poop I was so excited about. I did sell a poop. Poops don't, emojis in general, any of the emoji pillows and plush I've had, they don't sell for very much, and they usually sit around for a while before they move. I just like to sell the poops because it amuses me. He sold for $13.12. Next up, we have a zebra. This is a vintage plush. So obviously you want to look for vintage plush when you're outsourcing. Raspberry is a good vintage brand. And that's what the tag looks like on this one. It'll say Raspberry. This guy's pretty small. He came in a grab bag as well. So he was $17. Best offer is what he sold for. Then we have a big old Goofy head. So Goofy's one of those characters, oversaturated. I will still pick up Goofies if they're priced right, like 50 cents or less for most of them. This one is a big pillow, so it's different. It's not like every other Goofy plush out there. It's a big, it's kind of like a puff-a-lump, but you don't want to use the word puff-a-lump on a plush that's not a puff-a-lump because you don't want to risk a Vero, but you can use nylon as a keyword. Then we have a Dream Poodle dog. Hand puppets are good to look for. Puppets usually sell quicker than regular plush would. And there's like Folk Monis puppets. That's a good brand to look for that go for a lot of money. But I always pick up puppets when I find them. This one sold for $13.99. Here's a Holy Bear. Sold for $10 on a best offer. I listed it because it came in a lot. So this isn't something I would recommend picking up if you find it in the wild. Then we have a Pomsey. This was another plush that was just in with a wholesale lot. There's a small pink one we sold as well on Poshmark last month, which you'll see in another upcoming video. This one, it's an electronic toy, very tiny. It did ship in a box, but it still went first class. I did put it in a box, though, because it's an electronic plush, and I wanted to protect it. Then we have this Thai Hello Kitty. So Hello Kitty can be good. If you find the larger Hello Kitty plush, the Sanrio licensed ones, there's Build-A-Bear Hello Kitties I've sold for $25 and $30. Unfortunately, these Thai animals and characters don't always go for much, and you could have like a really popular character, but because it's Thai, it's still not going to comp very high. This sold for $9.99. Here we have a Disney Store white Tigger. So again, it's Disney Store, so it's not just, you know, Disney by Mattel or Disney by Hasbro. It's Disney Store, and it's unique. This is not a normal orange Tigger. It's not like every other Tigger out there. There's a whole line of these winter Winnie the Pooh characters from the Disney Store. Some have clothes, some don't. The characters are white. Sometimes they're their normal colors, but they'll have winter clothing on. I always look for these winter or holiday Winnie the Pooh characters. Tigger sold for $17.99. And speaking of Thai, here's a Beanie Buddies. This guy came in a grab bag. He was in with that zebra I just showed you and a bunch of others. So I went ahead and listed him. Most of you know my general rule. If I get a wholesale lot, box, or grab bag or mystery bag or whatever of plush, and there's enough of them in there that I'm going to make my money back and already start profiting, I will list the lower end bread and butters and sometimes even the poops, because at that point they're just extra money. So this is Rover. There it says on his tag, he's Rover. So he sold for $10 on a best offer. Then we have, speaking of oversaturated characters, here's a Minnie Mouse. And you will see that she isn't a Disney store or anything special. She's just Disney by Just Play. And actually, the Just Play Disneys, if I can get it in close here for you to see where it says Just Play. That's some of the lower end Disney plush. Those usually don't go for as much as even Hasbro or Mattel. She sold for $11 on a best offer. Then we have this Happy Meal toy. So I don't specifically go out looking for Happy Meal toys. I don't source them one by one. I don't pick through them at the thrift store or anything. But when they come to me in lots, absolutely. This was one of those deals. You can see how small he is. Very tiny. I don't even think he weighed 2 ounces to ship. And so I took a best offer of $10.79 on this order. Here's a plain Build-A-Bear. Build-A-Bears that are unique or special or themed, or Build-A-Bears that are recognizable characters from pop culture are always going to comp higher and sell for more money. I personally really like Build-A-Bears, and I think they are a solid bread and butter brand of plush to flip. And so I will pick up even these plain ones. Now, I will tell you guys that I don't comp Build-A-Bears that are plain like this. Any of them that are just these plain bears, plain dogs, plain elephants, or whatever they are, I start at $18, period. I don't go below that. Will I take best offers of $15 and $16? Sometimes on some of them, yes, especially if they've been sitting around for a while. But I never start any Build-A-Bear below $17.99 or $18, regardless if it's just a plain brown one like this or a dog or whatever. Now, when I get the ones that are themed, like I have some Girl Scout bears and there's a Jeremy bear, I will source them. And the pop culture characters, I do comp. I didn't mean to say source. I comp those just to be sure that I'm listing them for enough money, because those do go for more. But yes, this one sold for $17.99. We have an Angry Bird here. He sold for $9.99. He should have had shipping on him. And that was a mistake I made. I talked about that as well in a what sold video. The red Angry Birds are the ones that I usually avoid. They are very oversaturated and they don't comp for much. Any of the more unique ones, like this Bomb, and then there's the Rio and the Star Wars, I'll still pick those up if I can find them for like $1 or less. We have a petting zoo T-Rex. So I like the petting zoo. I think it's a really solid bread and butter brand. The petting zoo makes a lot of different kinds of animals. Sometimes you'll have petting zoo plush that's like from a specific zoo. Like I used to find Pittsburgh Zoo animals all the time when we lived in Pennsylvania. Most of them are kind of medium sized. They'll be half. That's good English. They'll have a more realistic look to them in most instances. And so then you could use the word realistic in your keywords. And I find that animals that are more realistic sell better as far as their sell-through rate and their price as well. This is a dinosaur. It's a T-Rex. He sold for $17.99. Christmas Snowflake Teddy. So Dandy is one of those brands that has everything from really low-end bread and butter plush all the way up to super high-end plush. I pick up most Dandies that I find. If you aren't into doing the bread and butter or volume selling, again, Dandy is one of those brands you probably want to comp before you pick it up. I usually grab any and all Dandy I find. These Snowflake Teddies, I've had 2 or 3 sell in the past month, and they sold pretty quickly. So these are something I would suggest as a bolo. And they have all different years. They have a male and a female, it seems, for each year in different costumes. This guy sold for $19.99 and they paid shipping. So this was one that weighed over a pound, shipped priority, in a large shipping box that we order for free off of USPS.com. Blankets and Beyond Lovey. So Loveys are a bolo. There's Loveys that, like this one, that are going to sell for $14.99, and there's some that'll sell for $30 and $50 and even on up. It just depends on the brand, what the Lovey plush is that's connected to it, and the size. If you're not familiar, Loveys are one of my favorite things to flip, and they are definitely something I absolutely recommend as a bolo. They're little square blankets, and they usually have a plush animal or doll head in the middle. Then we have this cherished teddy. It came in a wholesale lot, so we just went ahead and listed her. She's just pure profit at this point, $9.99. And here's a Goofy that sold for $14 on a best offer. So this is your run-of-the-mill oversaturated Goofy. Even though he's 22 inches long, he still only sold for $14. Usually, animals that are 22 inches long are going to sell for a lot more because they're larger sized. But Goofy's one of those characters that, unless it's something really unique like that pillow, or really big like this even, most Goofies comp around $10 to $12. He still shipped first class though. He just needed a bigger bag. And then last but not least is this Squaredy cat. Something I just picked up to try because I'd never seen one of these before. It's cute. It's punny. Not squared to dance. So I did pick it up. It had writing on the tag, which I always disclose. So that's just an example of something I would pick up. I sold her on a best offer of $12, paid 50 cents. Just something I picked up because, hey, this is different. And I'm always willing to try new things because sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns about any of the plush you've seen in this video, or plush in general, or even reselling in general, leave it down below in the comments. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you leave, guys. It really helps the channel so much. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Help us feed a hungry hippo. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. Until next time, go be productive, go make some money, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.